What's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we have a special guest. We have season 25 Big Brother contestant and America's favorite house guest on the show with us today. We have Cameron Hardin. Cameron, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm like I said, a super big fan, super excited. Can't even believe you're sitting here on the screen with me. But thanks again, and man, excited to list ask all these questions, man.
Yeah, man. Let's turn it loose.
So you're so back in Georgia, right? That's where you're from.
Yep, from Georgia.
So tell me a little bit about Cam. Tell me a little bit about obviously Big Brother. You're a super fan. This was your third attempt to try to get on the show. So tell me a little bit about what it takes to get on the show.
So I've been a super fan since season one, really season two when it's really picked up and took off. But um, I've always loved the show, and I auditioned like 5 or 6 times actually to try to get on. So you just got to keep plugging and playing and figuring out what makes you you. I mean, the entire time I treated the audition process wrong because I was trying my best to put my best self forward, which basically turned into a job interview. It's not a job interview. You're not listing resume requirements and bullet points. You're just trying to show the absolute best you. Once I kind of figured that out, I was like, well, I can be me. Be me. Being me's easy. So you don't have to remember anything or lie or put a bunch of puzzle pieces together to try to figure out what character you want to be. So if you want to get on the show, man, you just got to be yourself. That's the biggest thing I can give. Biggest piece of advice I can give anybody not even looking to get on the show. Just be yourself, man.
So I saw an interview that said that you almost made it, I think, last year, and then you changed it up because you saw a picture of your dad and his hair, and you decided to grow the hair out to kind of change it up and kind of put a little twist in it. Is that true?
I guess there's a partial truth to that, but really, I was really close to getting on season 23. Actually, like 2 years before mine. Um, Even having after I didn't have the look, I didn't have any of my normal stuff because I was not exactly happy. Like I was just going through life, going through the motions, going to work every day, and just not being home enough, and waiting for a vacation, and just doing all these things. And life had just kind of been down on me, and I figured, man, if I'm gonna show my best self, I got to start showing myself like be fun, be happy, and that's what it is. So I tried to shift some things up and chase a little bit of joy. I wound up landing a dream. Like I never thought that the Big Brother thing was possible.
So do you remember back, and they don't do it anymore, so I'm curious of how and why this has changed, but, back in the day, they used to do the contestants and, where you got the key, to Big Brother, you're out on the ranch or you're at work or you opened up a Happy Meal or something like that, and you pull out a, Big Brother key and everybody loses their mind. Obviously, they don't do anything like that, right?
Yeah, they did that to me.
Oh.
So mine was a little different. It was kind of lax when it comes to the production value of being awarded your key. Mine was just sitting on the front porch playing guitar with my daughter, and she just kind of pulls it out and goes, "Here you go, Daddy."
No
So
kidding.
mine wasn't like crazy, everybody losing their minds and cheering, standing ovation. It was more like, "Here, Daddy," and then so it was kind of happy and then kind of sad because I had to tell her goodbye for 3 months or more.
Wow. And what was the process like leading up to that? Was it a lot of back and forth to where you get, make it to the next, group of people? Tell me about that.
It was kind of tiered. I mean, I don't know how far along in the process I can actually talk, but I think it's pretty run of the mill as far as reality television casting process. I submitted a video. Some people were, of course, recruited because they already have kind of a following or a character that CBS looks at as a pretty cool person to have on the show. But I actually wasn't recruited. I went through the audition process. So having gone through the audition process, it's like a tiered system. So you put your audition tape in, and if that goes through, you get a call back. That's pretty cool. Then you have like an initial talk with the person that discovered the video, and then they kind of prepare you for the next steps, and each step is more and more daunting, more and more people, higher level of you really got to bring it. So by the time I reached, a panel interview with Big Brother itself, I was kind of like looped into who needed to be. Not answer too many questions, not to go elaborate too far, but kind of still leave them on the hook. And I got some pretty good tips from casting director along the way, so a lot of that helped out. So by the time I reached the final boss, as they say, like if you're playing video games, it was the CBS executives, and once you tackle that hurdle of that panel of people, then they basically considered you, and they gave me a call and said, "Hey, we're going to be coming out to your house and doing some field footage." And that's when they gave me the key.
So the where your daughter pulls out the key, that was already just kind of pre-set up though, right?
Yeah, we were gonna try to figure out some things to show who I was.
Gotcha.
Show the barn and the horses, and show the country living and dirt roads and cowboy stuff and army stuff, and then, oh yeah, by the way, the biggest thing that Cameron is a dad. So we kind of had this thing showing where Stevie and I were, playing guitar on the front porch and singing like we normally do, and then so they used that to trick me. Dadgum, Big Brother.
Very cool. Well, hey, before I forget and get into all these questions, I want to, thank you for your service, brother. Military, we're very, very big supporters of, law enforcement, military, the Western cowboy way, and just want to give you a big old shout out and thank you for your service and your time on that.
Well, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that.
You betcha. Um, so you go into the Big Brother, you get the lineup, and everything is lights, camera, action, and you meet all these people for the first time as you walk out. Is that the way that it happens, or is there some backside to that beforehand?
No backside. Yeah, no. When we see each other on the stage with Julie on day one is the time when the first time our eyeballs all meet each other's.
And at that point, being a super fan, Big Brother, watched every single one of them. At what point did you go, holy crap, I'm on Big Brother right now?
Oh, I was freaking out leading up. I couldn't believe that I had made it that far in the process, and I thought that I was going to be some sort of an alternate. But once I went through the entire process and went through and did like wardrobe and like did the camera stuff when you're like doing the intros and all these promos for the show, and I was like, okay, well if I just did all of that, I'm definitely on this show, and I'm like still in sequester, kind of waiting for the show to start. I'm actually in a hotel room. That's a
Oh,
different
really?
process altogether. But waiting for the show to start, and I was like, man, I'm definitely on this bad boy. So I'm just like chomping at the bit, just waiting, just let's go, man.
And you couldn't tell anybody that you were on the show as before you left or anything?
No, no. I mean, I told my immediate family when it was greenlit to actually tell them. So every process is very painstaking and very very careful and calculated, from the Big Brother standpoint.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're on the stage, you're meeting all these guys for the first time, and you're probably sizing them up. You're probably looking at people just based on their appearance of which ones that you can work with. You're thinking everything in the back of your mind. Did any of that change once you went inside the house and you finally met and talked to people?
So by the time that I actually met everyone on stage, I didn't look at a single one of them. We were so ingrained with don't talk to each other, don't speak, don't do anything. Like, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to. I looked at the floor during commercial break, and I looked dead at Julie the entire time. I was like, I cannot believe I'm here. I'm so nervous. But by the time I got in the house, I was like, all right, we're in the house. I can actually talk to some people now. So I just took my time.
And everything kind of happens, quickly there. I would imagine right when you guys walk in the house and, or should I say, run in the house into groups and picking out your bedrooms and all that stuff, which I'm assuming is all real. Everybody's trying to,
Yeah.
check it out. And then when you walked in, is it the same set as you watched, over the course of the last, 24 seasons?
Yeah. No, it's just, yeah, same thing. I mean, they changed it up and they shift a couple of things here and there. Of course, the first 5 seasons they were literally in a different house, and I think season 6 was when they moved to the actual soundstage that you see now. Um, But aside from that, it's the exact same sound stage. They shift around some of the walls and the dimensions and all of these things here and there, but for the most part, nothing changes. It's the exact same place.
And how quickly, when you guys all walked into the house, did literally the game just start? There was no like.
Absolutely immediately. The game started even before the game. If you were actually standing on stage and sizing up people and looking around, you already had to jump on the competition. So
And
it started immediately.
the whole Jared and his mom thing. Was that a big, super big surprise? Nobody ever
Oh,
put that
shock.
together.
Complete shock. Yeah.
Huh.
That was a lot. I mean, I've gone on and talked about it, and it's really an incredible story to me.
Hmm. So you had 7 comps. You were a blaster. In all your comps. I mean, you were basically feared. From the get go. I mean, literally, day one, you walk in the house, you're already a target. Why do you think that?
Hard to tell. I mean, like I said, everybody sizes up the competition. I guess they saw me as a smart guy that could possibly be physical and just do a lot. So I mean, automatically, just your demeanor. Like I said, the game starts immediately. Just your demeanor and how you carry yourself, you're immediately judged.
Hmm. Do you think your military background helped you in those competitions and the way that you played the game?
Oh, of course. I mean, but I was ready for the army long before I went in the army. My dad's a head football coach. Like so I was used to discipline, and outside of that, if I wasn't doing football and baseball and everything else, we were cowboying. It was rodeo, and you just got to be tough. So all of those things kind of like lined up for me to be a good soldier. And if you're a good soldier, then you have discipline, you have patience, you have the ability to keep your composure in the heat of battle, and that absolutely led to a lot of the success that I had in the competitions because just have fun, man. It's not life or death. They're not shooting at me. This is let's go out and put these blocks together.
So Cam, how do you when you look at the game and what you've watched and now you're inside the house, obviously you're leading up to this, going inside the house, thinking of all the stuff that you've watched and how you're going to play it. Did that change at all once you actually went into the house?
Oh, it hit me in the mouth in the first week. I mean, I had to change up my entire strategy because I didn't want to win anything. I didn't want to go and win in a lot of competitions. I wanted to go and being very social. But some other people that went in went social hard first, and that forced my hand to show that I could compete. And then further after that, it was just further justification that I needed to go because not only was I good at this, I was good at that, and I didn't want to show that hand too soon. But hey, man, when you're forced to go out there and turn it loose, you got to.
Because you literally are in the house, you are cut off from the whole world. You don't know. I mean, literally, you don't know if somebody's lying to you. You don't know if they're telling the truth. I mean, you literally have only
Nothing.
yourself to judge on what's true and what's not.
That's right. Yeah, that's all you get.
And how does that play into the mental game?
Oh, that is the entire mental game. Yeah, the hardest part about being a big brother and the competitions and the loneliness and all the stuff, it's the fact that you have to be on 24/7, even when you're sleeping. If you're sleeping, you're missing conversations. Yeah, so at all times, even if you're in the middle of a conversation, there's a lot of things you got to take into account. Should I be seen talking to this person? What type of topics do I need to talk to with this person? Are they listening? What's their body language? Where are their eyeballs looking when they're talking to me? And then you look across the yard and you see two other people talking and they're looking back at you and you're like, wonder what they're talking about. I got to make sure, now I'm reading their body language, still having this conversation, watching their eyeballs and seeing what they're looking at across the yard too. So on 24/7.
Wow. And then obviously you were voted for America's favorite house guest. How'd that make you feel?
Oh, complete shock. I had no idea. I mean, I was hoping that I was going to be received well. I was hoping to at least walk out of the house and not get, like rocks thrown at me and stuff. So that was, to me, that was the win. Just walking out of the house and people not absolutely hating me. So the fact that I won America's favorite, very, very humbling. I was not ready for that.
I think like that was, I mean, literally, you see over the course of the years, and America's favorite could be, maybe a popularity contest or somebody that I might not feel deserved it. But I think this year, season 25, I think America got it right.
I appreciate that, man. I think they got it right too.
So what do you think your biggest flaw in the game was?
Oh, the fact that I had to completely change my game from week one. I mean, like I said, I did not want to go in and win competitions. I had to win that very first head of household competition that I was in, or I was gone that week. So I immediately had to change up my game, and which hindered my ability to be social because anyone seen talking to me, just talking to me, their game was in jeopardy. So there was a lot of times where I could not even be social with people because I wasn't going to get anything out of them. And as much as I really tried and I really wanted to, I recognized that that was going to be yet another strike against me in my strength in the game. So eventually, after a while, once I had come back into the game, we had a couple weeks there. I had to shift up some stuff, and I started playing a lot more social, and I started bringing a lot more to the table, and that was the game I really wanted to play. Was when I came back in the second time.
Hmm. And why do you think Matt and Jag? I mean, it seems like obviously, Jag. I mean, obviously Jag was the big BB25 winner. I mean, he just literally slaughtered everything. But why do you think that nobody really took big shots at them?
So I mean, if you win 11 vetoes, you got a pretty solid shot, and especially if you utilize that person to play veto for you, you feel like you're in on the plan. So they played a masterful game together. Matt was incredibly social. You always felt like you were trying to save him, help him, look after him, all that kind of stuff, and he was really good at that. And Jag was really good at propping Matt up and making him be, you know, that subtlety between the two of them in their social game. And Jag was extremely social as well, but it gave him the ability to go win some stuff and then win some praise by doing something for someone else by using the veto or not using the veto or how to. So he had a lot of bartering, which is incredible. You can win HOHs, which is great because you get to put up the nominees, but if you win the veto, you're not going home. And he won a crap load of them.
Yes, he did. Almost every single time that he needed to win. Sometimes he knew he was safe, but I mean,
Yeah.
he when he needed it, he got it. And I would say the same thing for you too. I mean, obviously, you guys are comp beast and really played when you needed to play. And then obviously sat back when you didn't really need to, but yet there was always that stuff going on behind you. Kind of like the relationship between you and Red. Red's a super cool cat. I'm sure hoping that you guys kind of mended that bridge between the two. Nice. There you go. But
Yeah, we mended absolutely.
right. Well, that's good.
I mean, we were boys, so I mean, the confetti was still falling by the time we found each other immediately on that stage and hugged, and we were like, "I love you. I love you too."
Well,
Let's go.
he got to watch it. You didn't.
Yeah, but I knew what my heart was true, and everything that I had done was correct. So I was like, all he's got to do is go back home, see all this, come back, we're good, because I'll always love the guy no matter what he did.
So Cam, when you went back home, obviously you sat there and just kind of binge watched the whole season.
No, not really.
Really?
I watched some high points and stuff that I really did. I was curious about how people were playing in certain instances, so I would go to specific like days or episodes, and I wanted to watch a couple of those. But having sat down and watched it in its entirety, no, I still haven't done that yet.
No kidding. I figured that would be the first thing anybody would do is just be like,
I
hey.
did too. I thought I would, but I didn't.
And did you ever, when you went back to some of those replays, and you're like, oh, dang it, Bowie Jane?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, there was a week in there where I was like, ah, why did you do that, man? Yeah, but it's part of the game. You don't know what you got till you're in the middle of it.
And obviously you can't, and I don't know how you do it. And that's one of my questions is how do you take the game not personal inside when it literally on the outside seems personal? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But how do you play that game without letting the personal emotions get involved?
Well, the personal emotions are always going to get involved. You just got to remain in check of them. I mean, you learn that from not only just playing sports, but living life. You can't fight every person that says something different than what you believe or who you are or anything like that. So um, there's a big piece of patience in there, faith, and love and understanding that once we get through this traumatic experience of us being in this house and literally killing each other, there's still a love aspect there, and we're bonded. We've gone through something in life that not a lot of people will ever have the opportunity of seeing or doing. So there's still that piece of I understand why you did what you did, and I'm okay with it. You played a hell of a game, and I'm proud of you.
And you talk about like the emotional side of it, going into the house when you see everybody go into the diary room, bawling, tearing up, laying on the chair, and you're like, "There's no way in hell I'm doing that." Tell me about that emotion and how it twists when you get inside.
Mine was a little weird. The emotion that I actually felt was from missing my daughter. I'd never been away from her for that long. So I started to see things a little differently, and I wasn't anticipating that. So going in, you think you have this ability to play the game that you want to play, and you're like, I can handle all this and put up all these barriers and roadblocks, and I'll keep my mouth shut, and I'm going to keep secrets. And you have an idea of who you want to be and how you want to do it until you go in and you get hit in the mouth and you got to change some stuff up. So my dad always taught me that through adversity, true character is revealed. So you're going to tell a lot about yourself immediately when faced with something that you haven't seen before. So
And
luckily, I had the ability to adapt and just kind of run through brick walls if you have to.
and how far in do you think that you got before you really that wall started coming down and you started cracking before
Oh,
the
week tops.
oh really
I was like, oh man, oh man, this is gonna be hard.
it's like I said, it's you sit there, from the outside looking in, we're watching it going, oh man, why are you guys crying about that? Why are you crying about this? But
Yeah,
you know, we don't obviously live that life because you're literally cut off from the whole world with only these people that you don't really know and your thoughts.
that's
And
right.
of course your memories, coming into the house, what you left behind, what's going on right now. But your emotions, like I said, and everybody sees it. I think the one person on this season that really didn't crack was Mikol.
Mimi, yeah. Oh, Mimi was locked tight.
Right? She was gated.
Yes. Oh man, if you ever want anybody that can just keep their cool through a situation, call Mimi. She's gonna be cool.
And what was when the relationship happened between Corey and America? What was the general consensus inside going? This is a weird connection.
I know we saw it coming.
Really?
We were like, "What? Okay, okay, this is interesting. Let's see how this goes." All of us, we were like, "Yeah, we see it coming."
Did you see any hookups or any relationships that you thought going in was going to happen and it never did?
Nope. Basically, everything that we kind of predicted as a whole went down. Even at some points, I was like, "I don't think it's gonna happen," and then it happened.
I think when Corey grew his mustache, and the purpose of it, I think that was pretty comical from the outside looking in.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, Corey has an incredible sense of timing. He has a very dry, uh, comedic delivery, but he's so smart, and he really is good at hitting those marks. So the mustache thing was even funnier than it probably was shown. Still cool.
And Felicia. So, give me your take on Felicia because Felicia just seems like that person that is just constant, just such a great person and a kick to have around all the time.
Listen, Mama Fee is a one of a time character. There is only one of her. She was like stamped coming out of the factory, like one of one, limited edition, because she has such a large personality and just, like it takes up an entire room. She's the person that if you're having a family reunion or a family gathering or like a big party, you would still feel her presence over the entire group of people. So being in that house with her, Number one was a lot of fun. She's gonna a lot of times she's I'll say a lot of times she's gonna say what she wants to say, and it's going to probably be hilarious in the way that she delivers it. And it's up to you on how you take it. And I absolutely love how free she is like that.
Do you still think that she is related to Denzel Washington, or has that been debunked?
No, I knew a good way in. I mean, I continue to play with it and stuff. It would be kind of neat to know. But after having gotten to know Felicia, and like she explained her family to us and like her entire life story, I was like, there's no way. So I had dropped it weeks before we even brought it back up. So it was just funny that it stayed on the forefront of people's mind.
Well, everybody thought Denzel Washington was going to be in the studio audience when you guys were all finishing up the finale.
That'd have been awesome.
So when you look back, Cam, on the whole gameplay from start to finish, would you have done anything differently?
Oh, plenty. Yeah, I mean, but each thing you change would lead you down a different path and lead you to a different ending. So there's no way of telling. If I'd have done the things I really wanted to do, would I be sitting here talking to you right now? You know, would I have been named America's favorite player, or would I have been seen as this diabolical butthole? You know that put people would want to vote for that guy because I'd have had to go down a darker path of really playing a tough game that I didn't really want to play. So it's interesting to think back on all the things that you would have changed or done different because there's no way of knowing that you would have come out in a similar fashion.
Because you look at some of the guests and the players, like that came out pretty heavy. Some of them were kind of just floating, staying on kind of the sidelines. Heisem being one of them. I think his ultimate demise was when he really started thinking that he had the majority of the support and in reality he didn't. Do you think that's what kind of kicked him out the door?
Oh, he did have all of the support. He did have the numbers. Heisem's problem, I think, at the time was that he has a very how do I say it? Heisem is a very big person, passionate, very intelligent, can come off interesting to people that aren't prepared for that type of mentality, for that like type A. Here's exactly what I think we should probably do. I didn't mean to prop myself up as the leader of this group right now, but it appears like I have the only great idea. And he can come off that way, but he is amazingly intelligent. And he knew exactly what needed to be done and how it needed to be done. Unlucky for him, the members of his alliance at the time weren't feeling being told what to do. So they rubbed him the wrong way, and that's ultimately what got him in hot water.
Hmm. So when you came back to your hometown after you left, well, did you leave between Big Brother 25 and Reindeer Games?
Yeah, I stayed in LA for a couple days after the finale. Flew home, stayed home for through Thanksgiving, and then went to do Reindeer Games.
Okay. so so when you went back home, what was your reception like? What was like? Did you get the city key? Did they name Cam Day or any of that kind of stuff?
The only thing that I did was arrange a meet and greet for everyone in my hometown. And if they wanted to come, they came, and I got to talk to a lot of people. And some people came from 6, 7, 9 hours away to just come to my hometown to talk to me, which was really cool. Um, but no, in that period of time was actually kind of weird. Limbo. I couldn't completely decompress because I knew that I was going to go right back into it. So I was trying to stay in some sort of mentality of gaming and cutthroatism and all this kind of stuff. So I was trying to make sure that I kept my head in headspace. So I didn't get a chance to really put it all down and not think about it for a while. Even through Thanksgiving, I was still thinking about what's going to happen, how am I going to do this, what do I need to prepare for, all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't until I finished Reindeer Games that I had an opportunity to actually breathe.
And was there? I mean, obviously you were just acquired from BB25 into Reindeer Games because did you apply for it, or how does that work? How did you get on Reindeer Games?
They called me.
They just said, "Hey, you're coming on
I had
Reindeer
been home
Games."
from LA like a day or two, a day tops, and they called me and said, "Would you like to do this?" And I was like, "Yes, you're a big brother. You gave me a life. If you guys ask me to do something for you or do this, I'm absolutely going to do it. Let's go.
That's
So yeah, they
crazy.
called me.
That's crazy. And do you obviously your status, celebrity status, if you will, how does that affected you, or what do you think about that?
It's interesting. I don't see it that way, the way that a lot of people see it. Um, I'm just go out there and be myself, which is very easy to do, and I'm out, and a lot of times my friends are the ones that are the most like weirded out by it because people will stop us when we're out and be like, "You're Cameron." And I said, "That's correct." So, I have to take pictures and sign stuff and hang out and be cool with people, which is not a problem because every single fan interaction that I've had in person was incredible. I mean, I haven't had a single bad one wrong or anything, so I don't mind being stopped at all. It's really nice.
And I got to ask, I mean, did you get any like hate mail or anything like that? Did anybody be like, man, just like,
If I know not a single piece of hate mail. I mean, people are gonna have their strong opinions on social media, and one place I definitely stay away from is Twitter because I don't have one. But apparently, that's where all the hate mail lives. So I'm not in a hurry to get on Twitter and just read a bunch of stuff. And it doesn't affect me anyways because a lot of you can't change people's perspective once they've got it hooked in their brains on what their opinion of you is. You're not gonna really change it, especially overnight or with one argument. So I figure I just stay the course and still be humble, kind, generous, and loving, this guy that I am, and hope everybody the best. And hopefully people will see my heart over time.
kind of like that saying, your opinion of me is none of my business.
Yeah, that's on you, man.
So, the competitions in the game, were they as really as drawn out as they seemed to be on TV, or did they happen, rather quickly?
No, they're pretty drawn out. Some of them are quick, and they weren't anticipating how quick it would be, so they had to kind of stretch some stuff out and do all camera tricks and TV things. But primarily, the games were the exact way that I saw them. They might cut away and show a different facial expression on somebody, but the game itself is, yeah, pretty straightforward.
How was the new scary verse? How was that that twist
I
for
mean,
you?
Scareverse was interesting. The very I think it was the second HOH, the second official HOH that we had. We were called Escape from the Nether, and that was outside on a huge set, like right out, like on the studio lot. We had to walk outside and go film basically a movie, a horror movie. So that one was very highly produced, a lot of moving parts.
And was that on your side looking in? Was that was it played out in the like dark as it was, or was that all just theatrical stuff?
Which part?
Like like at nighttime when you guys are running around trying to find the to get back back to the house, where
Uh
you're
huh.
trying to find things and everybody is trying to get the clues. Was that all the way real for the most part?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was dead of night.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was right after the first eviction. We went outside, ate sandwiches, and waited for it to get dark enough to start shooting.
Really? And
Yep.
then when you guys would go back in the house, when they had basically transformed the backyard into something completely different, how long did that take?
Oh, it would depend on if they needed to break it down and go ahead and get ready for something else, or if they needed to leave it in place for something. Like one time for during Snot of Winter, where we had to get slimed for the next 24 hours. Like each person in the house basically got slimed at least once. So they kind of had to leave that one up for a day or two.
Hmm.
Aside from that, though, the crew is so fast. It's really incredible to understand. Like, and I never even got to see it. We just know that they tore this whole thing down in a few hours, and boom, we get the backyard back. It's crazy.
And you guys typically had to isolate when competitions were going on, or how did that play out?
I mean, it would depend on the competition, of course. If we're supposed to be all out there together, we're good. But any of the timed ones, yeah, we had specific. You're only gonna like the really timed ones were only gonna be during vetoes because there's only gonna be 6 people picked. That way they could put everybody that was not participating in the competition in HOH and just lock the door and leave them there. And then the 6 participants we all each had our own little zone so that we didn't cross paths, we didn't see each other, couldn't relay information about the competition. So anything that was timed, we kind of had to sequester ourselves.
How did you feel when the Zingbot came?
I thought it was hilarious. The first thing that he actually said to me, it was the first time that I had ever heard um, the Zingbot cuss. So I was like, oh my god.
What was some of the games that you looked at that you watched on the show that you were most looking forward to playing?
I wanted to play OTEV really bad. And I didn't get to play OTEV, and lo and behold, that was the week I left. But I really wanted to play that competition, and I didn't get to. Outside of that, I played a lot of stuff. I mean, I played all of the HOHs, all of the vetoes, and except for that OTEV. And that's when I left.
And then when you got voted off the first time, was there any inclination that you were coming back, or did you
Yeah,
think you were out the door?
I knew that something was different. Something was about to come and play because we got a transmission that was broken coded, and we didn't get an answer for that on eviction day. So I was like, something is going to be told to me when I leave here, and it's probably going to be that I'm going to be in a battle back. So I did not burn any bridges. I did not talk crap to people or go campaign and do anything crazy. I just took the L. And when I said met Julian, came right back in the house.
Because some people leave the house and they basically knock down the walls, burn bridges, and cut out the eyeballs of everybody.
Nah, not my thing.
Nah, like I said, I didn't think it would, but the way that you came back and then you had to battle back and you had to go through that, I mean, that thing, holding the ropes and guiding the balls seems pretty dang tough.
Well, yeah, like I said, the competitions were a lot of fun and they were tough. But if I was going to do anything, if I was going to be pegged with any sort of characteristic, it would be calm under pressure. So I didn't flinch at dropping the ball or doing any of the competitions leading up to that were like, you either have to complete this or you die. And I was like, okay, let's have fun.
And so all your guests that all your house guests that you were in there with, I mean, outside the house, everybody mended bridges and now kind of circled back around and friendship still lies there.
Oh yeah, there's more than a handful of people that I talk to. If I don't talk to them every day, every other day, at least a couple times a week. Yeah.
Have you been out to the different places and visiting? Have you guys all got together and kind of just
I've been up to Nashville. I've seen Riley. I've been out to LA and I hung out with Blue again and a bunch of the alumni. Of course, gone up to Tennessee and hung out with Red, and we've taken our time. And well, a lot of us got together in LA as soon as I finished Reindeer Games, which was right around Christmas time. So that was really nice to catch up with a bunch of people at once.
and everybody wants to know is all the relationships that kind of formed or looked like they were forming on the show, are those did those last or did those kind of wash out?
Well, I'm not in the relationships, but as far as I can tell, there's one holding on pretty strong. That's America and Corey. So I wish them the absolute best.
Nice. So you go into Reindeer Games now. Do you know the contestants that are going to be on that one too, or
No,
is that still?
didn't know anything. I think uh, I'd have to say I had a pretty good feeling that Brittany, Danielle, and Frankie were going to be in it because they were in the promo for it, but I wasn't for sure. So if anybody knew anybody, the three of them might have known, but they probably still didn't tell each other.
Hmm. And you obviously, so you walk into the house and you see all these, ex Big Brother, legends that you watched over the years. Tell me how that feeling was.
That was nerve wracking. So I'm pretty calm under pressure. This wasn't a pressure packed situation. This was me literally just walking down the stairs and meeting people that I had seen on TV many times. So walking downstairs for that, being the new guy in the club, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna be accepted. This is crazy. And so that was probably the only time where I was like, oh my god, I'm Cameron. And she's like, I'm Brittany. And I was like, I know.
That's hilarious. But you guys didn't stay in the house during Reindeer Games, right?
Now we stayed in a hotel.
And so you guys were just there during the daytime, a few 5, 8, 10 hours or something like that, and then you go back
They're
to the
long
hotel.
days. Yeah, show up really early probably and leave at night. Yeah, there were long shooting days. There were six actual shooting days, 2 days off in the middle, but those 2 days off in the middle were time to catch up on diary room sessions and wardrobe stuff and different voiceovers for things like that.
But you could communicate back home during Reindeer Games or no?
We could, if we really needed to, we had the opportunity to get our phone. They didn't mind us calling back home or anything, but we couldn't just like be involved all the time. We couldn't like have our phone and do a bunch of social media stuff just in case we all knew each other and we started to plot outside of the house because you don't want that. You want all of the plotting to go on camera.
And so you were kind of obviously starstruck when you walked into Reindeer Games. I mean, was there any kind of like, hey, I'm a super fan of you, X or
Oh yeah,
Frankie or whatever? I mean, what was those conversations like?
yeah. It was like, hey, I'm Cameron. They're like, hey man, we loved you on your season, and I'm like, really? I love you on your seasons. What is this? Like it was a house full of people that like really loved each other. And we have a really good group message, among all of us. But it really was a lot of like love, but tenacious competitive nature that we all have this thing where we really want to go hard. But at the end of the day, we'll hook each other's neck and be completely content that we just had the opportunity to compete in this thing. It was really a cool atmosphere.
And your obviously your time on Reindeer Games was pretty quick. It seemed like they targeted you right off the bat. Hey Cam, we like you, but we're gonna send you out here pretty soon.
Basically, and I didn't mind. I was honored if they saw me as a threat or they saw me as a possible competitor that was going to shake everything up in the house. Man, I'm flattered. I'm glad that I was initiated into such an amazing group of people. Granted, I would have liked to have stayed a little bit longer on Reindeer Games, but I think what I attained was a friendship of like 8 additional people, aside from my own season, that really know what I've gone through and have given me a lot of advice and a lot of really great words to get through some tough stuff that I didn't anticipate when leaving the house.
Do you think your friends and family saw you differently on the show versus outside the show, or vice versa? Now,
Yeah, it's interesting because I've come across some people in town and they're like, "Oh my God, you're Cameron. I don't know how to talk to you." And I'm like, "I was literally in your wedding. What do we? You can. I just called you on your own phone. It's weird." So yeah, sometimes they're like a little different, but once they realize and they get and we hang out for a little while, and they know I'm the exact same guy. They're like, "Ah, this is cool."
so what happens? What happens now? I mean, are you obviously CBS with the Big Brother and then the Reindeer Games? Are you still in contract, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, once you sign on to be on Big Brother, you definitely sign like a contract. Um, and there's certain things you can and can't do. I don't know the scope of what I can and can't tell you, but regardless, I kind of have to do CBS stuff for the entire first year if that's the case. So the opportunity of being on other shows that I want to be on, I just have to be patient and wait for that window of time in the contract to do.
Gotcha, because that's why. Let's see, Josh has been on Big Brother a couple of times, I believe. He was on Reindeer Games, and he's also on the Scavenger or the Hunt or another CBS show.
He's on the challenge.
Challenge.
He has done the challenge, and Kylan was on just on the challenge, and he was on season 23. So it took a year or two for him to have the opportunity to film it.
So when you look back on like these different shows that are on CBS, you see Josh. I mean, obviously Josh. Everybody can remember Josh banging the pans, together in Big Brother, right?
Yep.
What was that like when you saw him on Big Brother on the Reindeer Games, and you're like, man, is this guy gonna be banging pans or what?
It was totally different because I remember seeing him on TV and seeing him when I was coming down the stairs. I was like, oh man, Josh is here. And I came down and he was like, Cameron, I love you. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This is a big teddy bear, man. I love him so much.
Did any of them? Did your perception of anybody like that was on from Reindeer Games change from meeting them on person versus seeing them on the show?
Josh was probably the one. Josh and Xavier. Having met Josh, I was like, wow, he's grown. First and foremost, like he's so much more seasoned in this world now that he understands himself, and he's so much more calm, so cool, and just the coolest guy. And Xavier, of course, I expected him to be a lot more rigid and stone like, and he was immediately inviting and loving. So I was like, and then we started talking. I was like, man, I like this guy. This is a good guy.
That's awesome. So what happens next for you? I mean, obviously you're a stay-at-home dad, right? And you got CBS, you got potential shows. Is there anything that you're looking at, like opportunities that maybe Big Brother presents because you were on the show and being kind of the celebrity status that you are?
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm utilizing this opportunity right now in between not really knowing what I'm doing or where I'm going. I mean, I know where I want to be, but I'm using this time to do all these podcast interviews, to do anything that I can to not necessarily just put myself out there, but to give everyone as much of me as I possibly can, because I owe them everything for voting for me for America's favorite player, or just being a fan of the show in general. I mean, Big Brother is my favorite TV show of all time. So having those people behind me, I feel like I have an like a responsibility or a duty to make sure that I'm accessible and that I am around as much as they want me. If they don't want me around, of course I'll gladly step back. But I want to try my best to give back, and that includes charities and donations and foundations and stuff that I've been working with veterans and animals and kids and cancer. And I'll have a whole lot of stuff that I really want to work with to give back, especially local economies, which is a very big issue to me as well. So I want to do everything that I possibly can with this time period and this platform to just hopefully show people who I am exactly, and give back as much as I possibly can.
Looking at the past 25 seasons, what are some of the villains that you look back on Big Brother and you're like, man, I definitely don't want to be like that? What are some of the ones that you tried to steer away from?
I don't know if I tried to steer away from being like any of them. I mean, it's like watching your favorite football teams. You have your favorite position players, but a lot of times you probably wouldn't have chosen them to be on your team because you're like, yeah, they're gonna be hard to work with. But they're incredible at what they do. So there wasn't any person that I actually shied away from being like. I just had tried my best to learn from any mistakes that they might have made. So there's a few that I'm like, man, they are the master of just being evil. And I never actually really wanted to be any of those types of things, but that was their game, and I love that they showed us who they were.
What are some of your favorite past house guests?
Dan is one of my absolute favorite Big Brother players of all time. Janelle, who's incredible. Jeff, who I just find a lot of myself in. And a lot of different players. I mean, Dr. Will is up there. Plenty of people that are just incredible. Taylor is way up there as well. So having met and discussed a lot of stuff with the people from other seasons has definitely shaped my thought process on them now. If I go back and watch their season after having met them, I go, wow, now I really kind of understand a little bit deeper what you were going through and why you decided to do things the way you did.
And what when you look at, like I said, your guests, your house guests, Felicia, Bowie Jane, Jared, all those guys. What are some of the traits that you look towards in them when you wanted to partner up with somebody during the show?
It was hard to find traits that would correlate into what I really needed. It was hard to trust people because I knew kind of where the battle lines were drawn. The one person that I knew after Red had left, the one person I knew that I probably had a good relationship with was Bowie, and it turns out that even she could get gotten to. Even she, who I thought we were pretty tight, even she got played as well by three incredible Big Brother players. So I don't feel betrayed. I don't feel hated on or anything like that. I just go, wow, what an incredible game move.
So you're in finale night. Obviously, you come out there. Everybody's putting in their keys for who they're voting for, and prior to that, Matt and Jag was sitting there and they gave their speeches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Matt's was pretty mellow, but Jag really came out and just put it out there all on the line. How did that speech make you feel? And based on your voting process.
Happy. Matt did exactly what we thought that he was going to do. He didn't really give much and speak to the moves and the thought process he was in during the game. Jag, however, though a bit colorful, his speech owned everything that was done. And that's exactly what we wanted to hear. I wanted to hear I wanted to hear Jag say, "We didn't do this together. I planned the majority of this stuff. I played Matt." And he did, and that's all it took.
And I would love to get Jag on here just because that last couple days with Jag, Matt, and Bowie Jane, when literally it was looking like Jag was going to take Bowie. And I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but we were at our house going, "Oh my God, are you kidding me? This is going to be epic," And what was when you watched that part back? What was in your mind?
I was happy that he didn't take Bowie. Because if he had taken Bowie, it would have been seen as a cowardly move, and a lot of people probably would have been forced to consider voting for Bowie, having made it all the way to the end without her name being said. I mean, she didn't touch the block. So she had a compelling argument to be there. And I think that it would have been seen as he knew that he could beat her. That would have swayed the jury, I think, in a wrong direction. Having taken Matt meant that he took his number one person. He could hold on to loyalty all the way to the end. And knowing that there was that Matt could have beaten him, and he still chose to take Matt, was a reason that I voted for him as well.
And I think that's where the hard line comes between you guys as players trying to keep your integrity, your morals, together during the show, but you
Right.
know that the game has to be. I mean, there has to be some deception and lies and stuff like that to get where you guys get. How do you get past that?
By that separating of game and personal. You even have to do it within yourself. You have to understand, hey man, I'm doing this right now because I'm playing this game. I'm not, being an awful person. I'm trying my best to play this game, and you have to separate those things inside yourself as well and live with it at the end of the day. So I was okay with basically everything that I did in the house because I didn't have to sway from who I was.
So Cam, away from the show, away from everything, what do you do? What do you do back there in Georgia for fun?
I mean, right now I'm still really busy trying to do plenty of this kind of stuff. So my life has altered a little, but I mean, the majority of the time I love hanging out with my kid. We play a lot of games, do a lot of cool stuff. Riding horses and going to events and doing stuff like that. Playing music, and doing actual podcasts with my buddy that does podcasts. Going up to Nashville a lot and talking to a lot of songwriter buddies and playing some golf and just stuff, man.
So you have some aspirations to get into the music, country music stuff.
I mean, I love music, but no, that's not. I I like to write and I like to mess around and hang out with my buddies and do stuff. But there's one of those things you have to recognize. That's probably not my best. But I would like to eventually get into other on-screen roles.
And have you had any celebrities that are like celebrities, real big ones that reached out to you and really want to talk?
No, not in the sense that you would probably think. In my mind, I have because I have had a lot of Big Brother alumni reach out to me, like big names that I loved their gameplay and the status with Big Brother as a whole, and they wanted to help me out and talk to me, which is really cool. So celebrities, it's up for interpretation, but I've met my fair share of a few reality stars, that's for sure.
And does anybody that when you said, yeah, I was on Big Brother, and they're like, you're on what? What's Big Brother?
Oh yeah, those are the fun interactions. because they see everyone else kind of being like, "Ew," and then they're like, "Who are you, dude?" And I'm like, "No one."
Cam, where were you
Keep the
at for the
change.
last 3 months?
Yeah, it's funny. I love it.
So my last question is obviously I've been reaching out. What made you respond back to me and agree to come on our show?
Oh, because of all the money that you offered me.
Perfect.
I'm kidding. No, I've had a few people that reached out, and I'm starting to try to reach back out and do a lot more podcast stuff. So before I do that, of course, I'm always going to look through your portfolio and see what you got going on, and I loved everything that you guys are about. It's everything that I love. So it was an easy call to be like, oh, this would probably be pretty fun, partnership, and I'd love to get out there and hang out with you guys more than just this one interview.
Cool. Like I said, you ever come out to California? We're right here on the Central Coast, and it's a little piece of the Western Way in California. So you are more than welcome to be out here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I love it out there.
Awesome. Well, Cam, you know what? I want to again thank you for your service. Appreciate you, coming on the show. I know, this has taken a big time. You're almost 2:00 there, and reaching in between the day. But I appreciate your time. I know our viewers, love Big Brother. You're one of the guests that everybody was pulling for. Obviously, reason why you got the America Choice, House Guest Choice Award. And couldn't have been fit into a better person, man.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me, man. I hope that I can come back and do this some more.
Oh, 100%. I would like to get, some of the other guests on, and maybe we can do a little bit bigger one. Maybe, Riley, Jag and Matt. And, I think that would be really
awesome.
fun.
I'll give them a call, see what they're up to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, right on, Cam. Really appreciate it, brother. Hope to see you on, some more seasons coming up. And again, thank you for your service, and take care back there in Georgia, bud.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me.
You betcha. Well, there you have it, guys, man. That was absolutely awesome. I'm a big fan. Maybe one day you'll see me on Big Brother. I'm not sure, but man, that was super fun. Like I said, Cam was a big fan of ours in our household, and he played the game with integrity. He played it with honesty, and he basically just tell it like it is, and that's why you love the guy. So, but as always, guys, I appreciate you guys following us and watching what we got going on here on What's Up North County, and we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Escalar Wines, Wine Travelers Hideaway, Visit Atascadero, 805 Customs, Santo Brothers Plumbing, Pacific 805 Spas, Hanson Enterprises, Airflow Filter Services, Story Termite and Pest Control, Borhone Auto Center, and Kennedy Club Fitness, guys. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today, we can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Hi, welcome to Kennedy Club Fitness, where we have something for everyone. We have weights, cardio, group exercise classes, racquetball, basketball, swimming, and pickleball coming soon. Here at Kennedy, we're committed to health, wellness, and community. Stop by any of our 4 locations: Paso Robles, Atascadero, San Luis Obispo, and Arroyo Grande, or check out our website at kennedyclubs.com.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We're all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.
What's up, North County? Nate Santos here, owner of Santos Bros Plumbing. You might recognize me with my dancing horses at local events such as the Atascadero Tamale Festival, Templeton 4th of July, and Paso Pioneer Day. I am now available for all your home plumbing service and repair needs, from minor drips and drops to emergency leaks and clogs. For the best plumbing service, call Santos Bros Plumbing, pipe wranglers to the rescue.